So in the home, it can be really useful to have sensory spaces, and depending on your young person, hopefully that young person will have seen an occupational therapist, and you'll have an idea of whether they're sensory seeker, whether a sensory avoider, whether they've got a combination profile, as we might call it. That occupational therapist, they may have also supported you to learn how to do things called joint compressions. So those kind of things can be really useful in terms of regulating the body, giving the young person that feedback that they're searching for. So if you see young people who are on their tiptoes a lot, jumping on sofas, running around, they're looking to get more feedback. Their body's not receiving enough feedback. So joint compressions can be really useful. Things like the mini trampettes, or if you can put a trampoline in your garden, those sort of things can be useful. In my house, I have a canvas swing that we have attached to the ceiling in a caliber clip, so we can take it down whenever we don't need it. It doesn't take any space. But if my eldest is having a bit of a difficult day, he likes to get in that and enjoy that movement. To the same extent, particularly in situations where a young person may have come home from school, they've held it together all that time, and then they get this, what we call a post-school and after-school collapse, where they've managed to hold it together, all of that sensory onslaught, and then they come home and either they may just sort of freeze or disassociate, not connect, or they may break down, they may be very emotional. It can be really useful for those young people to have a quiet space or a quiet environment. And it can be difficult because we may have other young people who are looking for music and things like that. So what can we do in those situations? Things like noise cancelling headphones. If we have a quiet room in the house, that can be really useful. Sometimes we might build a den, or we might have a tent. We might put very sort of mild, gentle fairy lights in there, so it's a darkened, ambient environment, but it's not too dark. Things where listening to certain music may calm them. I do something sort of yoga based and mindfulness based with my young people, and even things like finger breathing, where we can get young people to breathe in and out with the shape of our hands. So we can go and do that a couple of times, can really, give that young person that sense of stability and regulating what's going on for their body. We want these interventions to be really quite useful, quite easy to access, and we want to get ahead of when they need them as much as is possible. If we can support that young person to stay regulated rather than responding once they've become dysregulated, that can be a really, really useful way.